Welcome everyone to today's webinar. We are really honored to have with us two fantastic manufacturers and they're even more fantastic representatives from Roppe and ISE Logik. This is the 10th episode in our series, Transparency is the New Green, in product selection and specification. This is all about featuring manufacturers who are investing in product transparency to share their learnings about why they're doing it, what they've learned from doing it, how they're improving their products, and how to actually use the transparency information in making better decisions about the products that are being selected to go into greener and healthier, higher performing buildings. So really what we're looking at is how these manufacturers are integrating product transparency into product marketing, because product transparency, environmental performance, and material health are performance criteria, just like functional performance, safety, aesthetics, all of the things that people use today to make better informed decisions. Environmental performance and material health are the latest two types of performance criteria. So here's the agenda. Going to do a quick intro, and then we're going to hear from Ann Doherty from Roppe, followed by Dean Kraft from ISE Logik. We're going to do a demo of the transparency catalog, and we're going to do some Q&A. As always, questions, please put them into the questions panel. We'll do our best to get them answered during the webinar. If we don't get them answered, we'll absolutely follow up with you to get those answered. And so moving forward, a little bit about Sustainable Minds for those of you who are new to Sustainable Minds. We're a cloud software company. I'm Terry Swack, the founder and CEO. I started the company over a decade ago. Our first product is a streamlined lifecycle assessment and eco-design screening tool delivered in the cloud for product manufacturers of all types, not just building product manufacturers, to help them understand the environmental performance implications of design decisions and manufacturing decisions across the lifecycle of their products in early stage design to make better informed decisions. So we've been in the LCA, better product design decisions delivered through cloud tools for over a decade. So focusing on the building product sector and helping people make not just better informed design decisions inside the organization, but now specification decisions was a natural extension of our product line. When we got involved in product transparency, it was in 2012 when LEED version 4 was introduced, and product transparency was part of the core concept that made LEED v4 new, where USGBC said, look, if we're actually going to build higher performing buildings, and buildings are simply a compilation of its products, then we actually need to use scientific methods consistently across every building product category and not have specialized ways of measuring different kinds of products, but one consistent scientific method to measure the environmental performance and the material health of products. And pretty quickly, there were other green building rating systems that also integrated credits to reward manufacturers for being transparent and design teams and owners for selecting and using those products. But what it comes down to is, we see this as transparency is the new green. It's the new threshold for expectations around manufacturers' products. How are they making them? What decisions are they making? Again, about life cycle impacts and material ingredients. The other types of certifications that were in LEED version 3, like recycled content or indoor air quality, and a few others that there were credits for, all of the manufacturers, I'm going to say 99% of the manufacturers who have gone ahead and invested in product transparency already had invested in getting those certifications. Transparency is the new green, the new threshold for being thoughtful and transparent, taking some risk, spending a bunch of time and money to actually make higher performing products. So at the end of the day, we talk a lot about the disclosures, but people aren't looking to specify disclosures. They're looking to specify products with disclosures. And it's been a challenge for the building construction community to actually find those products correlated with those transparency disclosures, both on manufacturers' websites and in the rating system websites. So that was the key insight into why we created the transparency catalog, and we're going to talk a little bit about that after these two presentations, how we've made it easy to find their products for in the research phase and also in the specification phase. But really what we're getting to the heart of in this story is, while it is about creating disclosures, right? The green building rating systems reward products with disclosures. But Sustainable Minds believes that product transparency does build credibly greener brands, but not by just producing disclosures. There are many, many, many manufacturers across the most popular master format divisions and sections today that have invested in product transparency, and that's fantastic. We want to reward every single one of them. But at the end of the day, people can lay down the same amount of money and get those disclosures. What we really want to do is select and specify products that actually are higher performing. And those manufacturers who are able to demonstrate that they themselves understand what the disclosures mean and are driving that learning back into their product development, or they made changes before they created the transparency disclosures and can talk about how those changes impacted the performance improvements. Those are the manufacturers that you really can trust to be making higher performing products and committed to staying on that journey. And so today we bring you two manufacturers who really are on that journey and can tell truly compelling stories. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Anne to tell you her story and the story of Roppe.
Great. Thank you, Terry. Thanks, Sustainable Minds. This is Ann Doherty. I'm the General Manager of Sustainability for Roppe Holding Company. My role, General Manager of Sustainability for a flooring manufacturer, involves lots of engineering, marketing, employee training, writing, continuing education, slide decks for customers, and data collection for environmental product declarations and health product declarations. And I have to say, filling out a lot of material data forms for LEED projects and other building rating systems. My path to here, if anyone can identify with this, is starting with environmental consulting when I got out of school, and then going to work for the cement industry at Portland Cement Association in Skokie, working with environmental issues that our member companies had, then starting an organic farm-to-table education tourism company for 8 years, then working as sustainability director in a facility department at Xavier University in Cincinnati, and now manufacturing sustainability. What started with Earth Day 1970 as an interest in environment and, saving and protecting little bunnies and birds and plants has grown along the way to something sustainability that includes justice and communities and economics and people. And so why do I still work in sustainability? It's because, to me, it encompasses what I started with: ecology, it's systems thinking, and it's just good management, right? Because it is about people ultimately, and it's about the environment, and it's about making all this work for all of this with the way we keep count, which is with profit. Our company was started in 1955, and the reason I'm going to tell you a little bit about the company is we are a conservative company, and you'll see that. So I'm not here claiming that we are a sustainability vanguard, that we are producing documents faster than anybody else. I do know that this idea of wanting to be good to our customers and protecting our customers has been with the company for a long time. So that even 20 and 30 years ago, we were changing formulations to take heavy metals out of pigments, for example. This did not start with lead for our company. So Tony Roppe, we make wall base, flooring, stair treads, and accessories. We make things from rubber and vinyl and some other materials, which you'll see in a minute. And the way I want to express this more holistic look at sustainability is an award we won last year, the Healthcare Facilities Symposium. Fantastic show, almost all hospital administrators and designers and healthcare. And then also there are a lot of architects and designers there serving them with some great products. So our product won the Most Sustainable Product Award, and here's why, and here's what it is. It's a product pairing for us. We took MVRA rubber sheet, which is a red list chemical-free rubber sheet, and paired it with this flash cove installation you see in the top picture. It includes an aluminum top, an aluminum bottom, and then you can have a stainless protective chiclet at the top of the wall base there. This product pairing is a fantastic thing because it allows for a really tight installation in the factory, not in the field with labor shortages we have in different parts of the country and the continent right now. And then you can see how easy it is to maintain to meet CDC and EPA, Center for Disease Control, and U.S. Environmental Protection Agency cleaning regimens, because you have these really clean weld surfaces. You can see in the red and gray picture in the bottom right. And then with the aluminum protection there at the bottom that is behind the wall base that's coming up the wall, you can see that it is not going to be punctured by chair legs. Comes with a lifetime warranty. It's a win-win-win. Great material, red list chemical free, easy to maintain with the tough cleaning regimens that hospitals have to put in for infectious disease, and puncture proof. Here it lives in an operating room environment. So the Symposium Distinction Award, Most Sustainable Product, we were excited. So this organization, at least, is defining sustainability as more than just environment and material health. And so that, I guess, is my first takeaway, is we all want to define sustainability as bigger. Here's a picture of Tony Roppe, 1955, started with 7 employees. 3 years later, our current president joined the company. So he's been with them. He celebrated 60 years last year. In 1972, Mr. Roppe passed away and 7 employees took over the company. And then it kept growing. So in the 80s, the top left icon there is a plastics company in Florida. Atico was started. Also in the 80s, Mr. Miller, the Miller family bought a local company in Fostoria, Ohio, which is a wood millworks that had kind of fallen on hard times, and has built it back up now with 100 employees. In 1999, he formed this Roppe holding company to also incorporate the radio stations that you see at the bottom, the logistics company, RHC Logistics. In 2001, Flexco was acquired. And in 2015, 6 Degrees was formed, which provides luxury vinyl tiles. And then just in the last couple of years, the Canadian company Flash Cove in Ontario has also been added. So family owned and operated, additional manufacturing in Florida, Alabama, and Canada, more than 100 distributor locations, and 2019 is our 64th year of business. That's Roppe Holding Company. Now I'd like to focus back in on just Roppe, which is what I'm going to be talking today. But a lot of this thinking that I'm describing covers all of Roppe Holding Company, all of the brands. So why and who cares about product transparency? I would say we do, and I would say transparency starts at home. So you can't be honest with your customers if you aren't being honest internally about what you're doing and what's going on. So 2 years ago, this month, we had sustainability workshops for 120 of our supervisors and leaders. And we're not a big company. We're less than 1,000 employees total. And the modules were first, what's happening in the world, the building rating systems, our marketplace, what ISO 14001 is, the environmental management system standard, then what our formulations are and what we are concerned about with our formulations given by our chief chemist, then what our customers are expecting now, which is environmental product declarations and health product declarations, which are going to give information from the ISO work and the formulation work directly to customers, and then what sales are likely to look like in the future. And I have to say, after 2 years, we did 9 workshops with 120 people, and the improvement ideas are still coming from everywhere, from all of the attendees. This kind of internal transparency is a fantastic place for any company to start. So why do we have sustainability? Why do we have innovation? Because we want to serve our customers. Because I would say manufacturing quality products depends on 1, continuous improvement, and 2, knowing our suppliers, visiting them annually. We check operations and records at our biggest suppliers, so that who are all US based, as we are US based, so that we know exactly that what's going on and that the information we're getting from them is correct information. And also not the same trust but verify, but the same kind of communication relationship in a different way with our distributors and with the end user customers has to go on. Manufacturing quality products has to be a continuous communication loop. The product transparency, we have 5 sections in Sustainable Minds, and here that is broken out right now. And we have either an HPD or an EPD for each of our major products. And if the EPD is missing, it's because I am slow to get some of these things done. We also are doing HPDs, or we just joined the sponsored, I should say, the International Living Futures Institute. We're going to be looking at declare labels, especially for Pinnacle, but I don't know what we're going to decide, HPD or Pinnacle or declare for Pinnacle. Some of our products, this is how they look. So we have an EPD and an EPD for rubber flooring and the rubber wall-based Pinnacle. Pinnacle Plus is shown there on the right. That's sculptured wall base. And you see rubber flooring at the bottom in the classroom. HPD for the Envir product, the rubber sheet. Vinyl products, wall-based stair treads, flooring have HPDs. We have a very nice ESD, electrostatic dissipative floor tile, shown in the bottom left. And then for the contours and 700 series, which are the thermoplastic rubber wall bases, you see contours there, the profiled TP rubber wall base on the bottom. And continuing in spring, for the luxury vinyl tiles, the lines called Northern Timbers and Northern Parallels, we're going to be finishing our EPDs. Our 3rd life cycle assessment is just close to going to the reviewer now. And there's another picture of luxury vinyl tile. So we have 4 points about sustainability case studies. And of course, our work has been about formulation on the material health side, the chemical side. So in 2016, we spent the year reformulating our rubber, so that's flooring, wall base, and stair treads, to be red list chemical free. We changed the formulas. Hundreds and hundreds of tests were done to ensure the same durability, which means it has to provide the same resistance to indentation, the same resistance to UV lighting over time, the same resistance and holding up under different chemical cleaning regimens. Hundreds of tests were run to reformulate. In the case of rubber wall base, I'd like to point to energy, because we all spend a lot of time these days talking about chemicals and about material health. But one of the biggest things for flooring, 5 out of our 9 environmental impacts in the EPD that we have to prepare, 5 of the 9 environmental impacts are really based on energy, something to do with petroleum or energy. And so energy was a big thing for us to look at. So we were lucky. There's a Department of Energy small business program called the Industrial Energy Assessment Program. It's at 28 universities in the US. A group of kids, students came out with a professor and did a complete assessment. This is I think a 30-year-old program. They are working off of very strong information. They've been trained in how to do this. They came out and made 9 recommendations for energy savings at our rubber plant. Following 4 of those 9 recommendations led to a 20% reduction in energy use during the next year, during 2016. And just to say that, big results can come from small things. One of our biggest savings was plugging the air compressor holes in the wall-based vulcanization system. That's Pinnacle there, shown in red. So tiny holes, plugging tiny holes, patching this up led to really big results. With less air loss, we were able to turn off one of the air compressors during weekends, and then both compressors, we made sure to be turning them down when the plant was not in operation on Sundays. And it's just made a huge difference, plugging holes and really looking at our energy use. And of course, that affects both our global warming potential of our products that are shown in the EPDs and also our costs. I already explained this. This is the bigger picture of looking at product pairing for saving, for providing more sustainability, the Enviro rubber sheet with Flash Cove. And a final example would be reformulating our vinyl flooring and wall base, which we did the year after we did the rubber. We substituted a bio-based plasticizer for phthalates in our vinyl formulas. And the result was in many areas, because the result showed a reduced global warming potential, GWP, in our life cycle of assessments for these products by 6 to 10%. The plasticizer is a certain amount of our formula. We were substituting a different plasticizer that's a bio-based, a soy-based, not intended for food material. The carbon that those plants absorb as they are growing reduces global warming potential. It reduces CO2 in the environment. And substituting for the petroleum-based phthalates reduced our global warming potential. So my key learnings were that we believe we've been working on our products and improving our products continuously, but planning to prepare the HPDs led to, and some may identify with this, an identification of some missing supplier information. Preparing the first EPDs and HPDs led us to think about initiatives to reduce waste and energy, and comparing, once we had finished those documents, our environmental impacts with our competitors and with other things like a 12-ounce bottle of beer. What's the global warming potential of 12 ounces of pale ale? Helped us think about the bigger picture of what our data mean. Customer requests led to us changing product formulations, and then changing the formulations increased our knowledge of how to more quickly and efficiently create great products. So I have to say that our increased knowledge goes right back into product development. Our future sustainability case study is about waste reduction, because we've emphasized in 2018, we've really worked on reclamation. We invested in equipment to reuse our rubber waste for manufacturing, and we'll be launching the product we're making with that reused rubber waste in the spring. And the HPD is already ready to go on the Sustainable Mines database when we launch. Our LCA provided insights into raw materials and the plant manufacturing drivers of our environmental impacts. And so that's made us look at all of our raw materials, which are polymers, plasticizers, additives, and fillers. And this winter of 2019, we have an innovation effort, again, with the whole company working together to increase our lateral thinking. So that's to be continued. Why look for products with transparency information? Because you want to know that companies are watching the performance for emissions, material health, the same as we are watching the product performance for everything else that comes with an ASTM standard, right? Durability and chemical resistance and reflectance values. What should AECs be looking for? And this is not, I'm not trying to weasel out of answering this. It's within the discretion of the company. The most important benefit of sustainability is wherever that company and their clients are looking. And our issues, our benefits range across the regions. They're dependent on weather and what type of age of infrastructure we have, what our population density is. And then here's the big picture, the trends. As a society, I would say we need to understand the big picture. Kind of going back to Earth Day 1970 here. For flooring, our durability needs to match with our intended use. How many years are we talking about? 5, like in hospitality, 80, like in some of our municipal buildings. And can we look at whole building risk assessments, whole building life cycle assessments? Can we look at relative health risks and environmental impacts so we understand what we're doing together? Because I worry, and the last point is, we are focusing a lot on the building sector. You know, we're working on elements inside of individual products, but please, let's also look at agriculture and transportation sectors that also have a huge impact on our environmental and health burdens. So with that, I thank Terry and Sustainable Minds for the opportunity. Terry.
Thank you, Anne. That was so well told and really informative, and loved the case studies where you were able to talk about what you learned from doing the LCAs and the HPDs and how you drove that knowledge back into your product development and the performance improvements that you achieved. So now we're going to turn it over to Dean Kraft, who is going to tell also an amazing story in a really different sector. Dean, take it away.
Hey, thank you, Terry, and also thank you, Anne. Like Terry said, my name is Dean Kraft. I am the president and COO of ISE Logik Industries, and thank everybody for joining the webinar today. Current responsibilities. I look at my current responsibilities twofold. By far, my most important is my family, and that actually kind of will lead into my reason, my interest for this issue of sustainability and transparency. But that also extends to our current company, because we want to make sure we do all we can, that we exceed expectations in value, service, professionalism, and doing so through full transparency in product and action. And that extends to all we interact with, our building reps, our suppliers, our customers, the projects that use us. So it's not bounded by any particular sector. It's pretty all-encompassing. The path to my current role, a little bit different. I am a retired Marine, 23 years of service in the Marine Corps, originally from Florida, went straight from Florida to the Naval Academy. I have a Bachelor's of Science from the Naval Academy, did quite a few active years in the Marine Corps, got a Master's of Science in Management from the Naval Postgraduate School. Went the reserve side. During the reserves, did a couple years at ExxonMobil, a couple years at the Trex Corporation, composite wood decking and lumber, big consumer of recycled products. Recalled for 5 years from 04 to 09. And then in the past decade, got a doctorate in business and global leadership, and was even an adjunct professor for leadership and organizations for Southern New Hampshire. So basically my whole background is not really from the manufacturer sustainability side. It's from leadership and both learning and applying. And if you really were to study leadership and distill it down, leadership is about change, either in organizations, processes, people. That's really what fundamentally leadership is about. If you really study it and think about it. All that has culminated in, like I said, the past decade, my exposure and involvement with the moisture vapor reduction admixture sector. In that, also a member of the ASTM F6 Committee on Resilient Flooring. In that capacity, I'm the chair and author of an ASTM F3191, and I'm on the Research Engineering Standards Committee for the National Ready Mix Concrete Association. So we don't just embrace transparency and sustainability inwardly. We try to be involved across various sectors within the industry, so we can keep tabs, keep up to date, and help even guide industry organizations along the paths as well. Why does it interest me? Well, I've separated sustainability and transparency because I see them kind of coming together. And why it interests me is that sustainable design at its core rests on two premises. So whether you study LEED or lean or apply these processes or green construction, all of those processes can be boiled down into how do you apply it. Eliminate waste in all its forms, do nothing that does not add value. So if you're doing product selection and you're choosing a product with more recycled content, you're limiting waste because you're eliminating the recycled material going into the landfill, and you're conserving resources by not consuming virgin materials. But then really, how then does the AEC professional apply this? How do they go about making sure they're doing this? Well, that comes down to process improvement. Anne made some good comments about continuous improvement. I mentioned about leadership being about change. Well, process improvement is also about change. And if you were to research the definition of process improvement, it's proactive, identifying, analyzing, improving existing business processes to meet new quotas and quality. Now, a lot of people try to narrowly apply that to, say, manufacturing. I want to reduce my defect rate in manufacturing. Well, process improvement is not limited to manufacturing processes. Matter of fact, there is no limitation. It's any business process, and it's any standard of quality. Even recruitment is a process. So when you look at it that way, and you think about eliminating waste in all its forms and doing nothing that does not add value, it's through process improvement that the AEC professional can apply to everything in the specification: a task, a material, a process, and to pursue full application of sustainability. Me personally, I'm a process person. It's natural to me. It's what I've done all my life through leadership, through this industry. So that's what really drew me to sustainability and incorporating, instilling it into our company. It just resounds with me. Like Anne gave a great description of her exposure to the environmental side. Process improvement resounds with me. So it was a natural extension to transpose it to our company. Now, I mentioned my doctorate. In my doctoral dissertation, the title was "The Fallacy of the Current Industry Approach to Assessing Concrete Moisture Before Flooring Installation." In that research, there's some things I came across, well documented, that made product transparency much more to the forefront. I think we all realize or know about sick building syndrome, and that was an evolution of the IEQ, indoor environmental quality, deteriorating through the 70s. In 1984, the World Health Organization recognized it as a global phenomenon. The CDC, both in 1998 and 2011, had some pretty stark percentages of the rates of asthma growth across all ages, largely tied to clear linkages to indoor environmental conditions. So then we spent a lot of time inside, therefore product transparency in what my family's exposed to, what our customers are exposed to. Product transparency becomes very important for me as an individual and our company to protect both of these groups, my personal family and then the extended group that my company comes involved with. So I was able to take sustainability, which personally interests me, and then transparency, which also interests me from family and company, to apply to our company. Our company, it was formed in 2014. Like I said, I have a decade in this industry, and we also come from the manufacturing industry for flooring and installation and inspection, in more than 25 years of experience in manufacturing this type of products. So we're an amalgamation of expertise across all sectors that involve concrete, moisture, and flooring. Now, we understand that a lot of companies cannot do this based on proprietary designs and expense and the unique nature of what they do. But our chemical, we fully realized at the beginning that if people wanted to, they could reformulate. So we embraced that. We didn't try to hide behind something in our SDS. So we came to market initially upon full disclosure. Once we made that decision, a lot of other things became much more easy. We were the first product in our sector to pursue an HPD, and it's my belief to this day, we are still the only product in our sector that fully and truly declares all items that are in its product. And again, we understand that not all manufacturers can do that with their products, and that's completely understandable. But if you have a product that you know that can be easily reverse engineered, accept it, embrace it, and you'll find a lot of other paths open to you as far as being more desirable for the AEC community. And that's what we did. Now, our primary product, and we have several. We have a topical, but our primary product is an admixture. It's called MVRA 900 Moisture Vapor Reduction Admixture. Where can you find it in the spec? Sometimes in the structural notes, which is rare, but usually O3 division, cast in place concrete, or sometimes there's a standalone O3, O5, 10 spec section. We're in product master spec, we're in spec link, RCAT, obviously the transparency catalog, which we're very pleased to be a part of, mindful materials, HPD, consortium, collaborative. So all these places you can find our product. And again, our product is part of a sector that's been around for a quarter century. So these are not new products. If you were actually to go into Sustainable Minds, this is what our product listing looks like. We do have the HPD. That's the only real declaration on this that we've pursued, as opposed to an EPD, because the manufacturing process is a little bit different. But that's what our product looks like. And we have some other products that we're seeking to also get disclosures later on. I'll touch on those. About our admixture, when you go back and think about the definition of sustainable design, eliminate waste in all its forms and do nothing that does not add value. Well, right up front, and waste, by the way, when you think about transparency and sustainability, well, how are those related elsewise? Well, when you think about the information I gave about the CDC, indoor environmental quality, the increased rates of asthma from the 1980 through mid-1994, waste also accrues to lost work days. So the cleaner the environment, theoretically, a correlation can be made to less work days lost, which is avoiding waste, enhancing value. So we have no VOCs, no redless chemicals. Further, we had no time to the project schedule. Time. A lot of times people consider a product or process in terms of the cost, meaning the dollar amount. This test will cost X dollars. But most times they don't also factor in, well, that test is also going to take 3 days from your project schedule. Whereas this approach takes 1 day. The cost may be a little bit different, but what is then the value of those 2 extra days? Sometimes they become quite critical. So time. You could do a quick search, and many experts evaluate time as the most valuable commodity. So we don't take time lightly. We require no further moisture testing. We eliminate the need for project delays, either in waiting or applying a topical system. And then once our product is in the concrete slab, the project retains control all the way over. The beauty of an admixture approach to concrete moisture is it's delivered when the concrete's delivered. It's no different than any other slab mix being delivered. Now, one of the questions we also often get asked is, well, if your product is controlling the moisture, then where does the water go? As you can see this concrete coming down the chute, there's excess water in that concrete mix right now. It's one of the primary means to allow the concrete to flow. Now, when the concrete hits the slab mix and it hits the ground, it looks kind of chunky. It's still in a plastic state, but if you look, you can still see a slight sheen over the surface of the concrete. Upon placing on the ground, the large stone is going to start settling in displacement. And when it does so, if something goes down in that mix, something must come up. That's called bleed water. Our concrete with our product is still going to bleed. So the gross majority of the excess mixed water not needed for the chemical reaction of hydration is lost at time of placement, even with our product. And in fact, before they can move on and start their final finish, all the excess bleed water is supposed to have evaporated. Now, our concrete is finished in the same manner, wait for that bleed water to evaporate. It's finished, it's troweled the same way, and so it doesn't add any extra time. But once it hits this state right here, there are residual capillaries inside, and the residual moisture that could get out to cause flooring issues, we create a closed capillary system concrete, so we keep that residual moisture inside the concrete. In doing so, we have little to no impact on slump. So for the project engineers out there, project managers, the concrete people, this is a 4,000 PSI mix delivered by Cemex in Georgia. No impact on slump. No impact on entrained air. So we're doing nothing negative to the concrete as far as the ready mix producer, concrete sub, GC engineer are concerned. We positively contribute to strength gain. Why? Strength gain in concrete is directly correlated to a sufficient amount of moisture within the concrete. It's a chemical necessity. Portland cement is created primarily of reactive silicates. It consumes water to create calcium silicon hydrate. By closing those capillaries down early on, by keeping moisture in the concrete, we allow more even hydration. And so in the right column, you can see early strength gain over a control mix of the exact same without our product. We also shrink less by day 28. All those mean that we're retaining some residual moisture to gain strength, decrease capillary permeability, and reduce shrinkage. Now, something else as far as our product that's actually an extension of our pure transparency, over the past 14, 15 months, we've gone to extensive review and testing with Taylor Adhesives. Taylor Adhesives is perhaps the largest manufacturer of adhesives in the United States for a variety of flooring manufacturers. They applied adhesives to concrete dosed with our product as early as 4 days after that concrete came out of the truck, which is pretty much unheard of. And over a longitudinal period, that led to Taylor Adhesives issuing the first ever cross-compatibility warranty with an admixture of our type. And basically what this means is this gives a project assurance up front in the design phase that if our admixture is chosen to address moisture, there is an adhesive on the back end that can be used with most any kind of flooring that they're looking at. And there's a good chance that Taylor already makes a number of them, either private label or one that equals what's being put forth in the submittal. Now, as far as our projects go, who uses us? Healthcare. I'm going to scan through a bunch of projects here. HKS Flintco, this is a 500,000 square foot project in Oklahoma. This is another 500,000 square foot project outside of Columbus, Ohio, Gresham Smith, Hunt, AECom. So you're going to see quite a few healthcare projects. HKS again, Rogers Builders, and Wake Forest Baptist Health. Another project up in Maine, SMRT Architects. We're also used in education sector. These are again some sample projects. Castle Booz Architects, Brate Builders, Barrington Middle School up in Rhode Island. These are two schools in Ohio. This is another school right here with the Higley Corporation, the general contractor near Cleveland. Sport venues, we're used in athletic facilities, aquatic facilities. We were recently used in a project with Notre Dame and Barton Mallow, natatoriums. So really the use is, this is an interesting one in marine mammal study. We're used as the waterproofing agent for the Institute for Marine Mammal Studies. public safety buildings, hospitality, industrial. It doesn't really matter. If you got concrete, our product can be used to move the project forward. If it's too late for our admix, we do have a no-limit moisture vapor emission control product, and that's our 710 product for topical. Also saves time because it doesn't require moisture testing. Why do we do what we do? We all care about it because it's a core element of our organizational culture. We have found out that transparency in manufacturing helps us protect our customers, but really it's also evolved to making us an industry leader and led to that cross compatibility warranty. The deciding to do it was more difficult than the actual doing it. A lot of times people wring their hands worrying about what might happen as opposed to moving forward. We learned a lot about our product and processes in the way. And we also learned that by going to more pure raw material streams actually lowered our cost of the delivered product. It's allowed us to strengthen our relationships with our suppliers. They continue to help us evolve in innovation. And that way, because we can leverage their expertise in areas that we would not think of, and that's a really important thing for us right now. One thing as far as across our industry, or at least our company, and Ann touched on this too about the classes they have. The more we train our reps on the product transparency, the more they can understand the chemical interactions, the better they are actually able to market the product because the better they understand it. The more products that are hidden in a product, then it's more difficult to try to explain if there is an unanticipated reaction. So it's actually enabled us to create a competitive advantage in the marketplace because our own reps better understand it. What should products look for, or the AEC community? The AEC community really needs to make decisions to support these kind of products. Manufacturers spend a lot of time developing these products. The industry wants to go this direction. So if the industry wants to go this direction, then the AEC community recognizes that by choosing these kind of products over equals that do not have these disclosures. To gain synergy, to propel further sustainability and transparency, those who make product selections really shouldn't show support to those products that are actually doing it, assuming costs are within line. That's it for me. Again, I appreciate your attendance today, and if you have questions, would love to hear them, and or contact me later through our company website.
Well, thank you, Dean. Both of you really, I have to say, pulled out all the stops to put together a great presentation and really get into the weeds to tell stories that are meaningful and understandable about how you make your products and how you're actually improving them through the disclosure process. And Dean, thanks for making the point at the end, which is our point. The transparency catalog is created expressly to make it super easy for the AEC community to find those higher performing products and make it easy to reward those manufacturers for making them. And so our approach to putting together the catalog has always been from day one to include every single building product manufacturer investing in product transparency in every material ingredient disclosure program, HPD, declare, cradle to cradle level, all of the material ingredient disclosure programs that are identified by the green building rating systems as having disclosures that are eligible to earn those credits, and then every program operator in North America, and every EPD from every program operator. And this is new. All of these EPDs, links to all these EPDs are new in our 2.0 release, which came out last month. And the two big adds to this release to support making it super easy to find and specify products was not only to add all of these EPDs, but to finally add master format filtering, which is the standard way that specifiers look for products to get into the spec. And the reason that we've implemented this filtering capability, a full 2 years after introducing the catalog in 2016 in November at Greenbuild, is that when we launched the catalog, there were only 350 building product manufacturers who had invested in one or both types of product transparency. Today, there are over 1,080 building product manufacturers, and there are finally enough across the most popular master format divisions to now implement this filtering capability to provide a great user experience. So you can still come to the catalog and alphabetically find every single manufacturer. Finding manufacturers by brand name is the way people think about products initially, looking for the brands that they like. And now with the master format filtering, literally in one click, we're making it possible for people to find every single manufacturer investing in transparency in every division and section that it's going on. So what does this mean? This is the first time that it is literally available to building professionals to find everything they'd be looking for in one click. We've taken a problem that consumes tremendous amounts of time across a project, whether it's in early stage research, in the specification phase, or even in the submittal and substitution process, making it possible to find every manufacturer and their products with transparency information. We launched version 4 at the end of January. We've had a whole series of webinars. Some of you may have attended the manufacturers' webinars or the AEC's webinars, but we're pretty data-driven, and we're definitely a customer-centered design organization. And the feedback that we were looking for, which we're really honored and excited to be able to share, is that the result of the feedback that we got from the 4 webinars we had for each type of user, 8 out of 10 architects, engineers, contractors, and owners who attended exited the webinar and said, absolutely, I will use this frequently. It provides a useful capability that we need, and we're going to use it moving forward. For manufacturers, not only is it a great way now to know that your product is going to be able to be found in that master format division and section in any phase of the project, but for manufacturers, the catalog is an educational, marketing, sales enablement, and lead generation solution. So now your reps can, in one click, find all your products from one or more of your brands if you're a big company, with all the associated transparency information organized by master format on one page. It enables them to be able to do great online demos about products, have some great content to add at the end of a lunch and learn. Demos great on a tablet or a desktop. And most importantly, to become knowledgeable about your product transparency initiatives, to learn about what those disclosures mean, how they're accepted by the green building rating systems, and to be as conversant about product transparency, those performance criteria, as they are about all of the other performance criteria that they need to be knowledgeable about to be effective in their sales jobs. So the way the catalog works is that here's a standard listing. We have free listings for every manufacturer who has invested in transparency, again, either EPD or material ingredient disclosure. Once they do their first disclosures, we add them to the catalog so that the industry knows, hey, here's another manufacturer. But for the manufacturers who want to make their products found, here's our standard listing. It has a lot of tools built in terms of education, communication, marketing, access to specifications. But the key set of tools is right here is this table, which is really a matrix that organizes the manufacturer's products by master format, division, and section. So here's the master format nomenclature. And we append the manufacturer's brand name so the user knows what the manufacturer calls their products in that section. That's the horizontal axis. The vertical axis is the type of transparency disclosures they have for each product. This is really an important point to focus on, which is that many disclosures, in fact, most disclosures, EPDs, HPDs, can represent more than one product. And sometimes it can be 10, 50, 100. We've even worked on an HPD that represented over 1,200 SKUs from a particular manufacturer. AECs don't know which products that disclosure goes with necessarily, and neither do the reps. So the way the listing is designed, it literally correlates every single product the manufacturer has that's covered by each of those disclosures. And so when the user clicks here, they're taken to the product page on the manufacturer's website. We don't believe in requiring a manufacturer to maintain lots of content about their products someplace else that is not their website. That's why manufacturers have websites. Those should be the single source of truth. And now that we've added the filtering, what we do is we take the section from each manufacturer's listing for the section that's being filtered on and present that in the filtered results, organized by featured brand first, because there's actually a lot more content to make informed decisions from the featured brands, the standard listings, followed by all of the manufacturers who have free listings. And in the case of the EPD listings, these actually do link to the EPDs. They don't link to the product pages, but we give you the link to the manufacturer's website so you can go there yourself and find those products. I want to do a quick live demo of the catalog so that, again, you can see how to find ISE Logik and Roppe products. So, you can always find things alphabetically as you can now. So I might click down here, and here's ISE Logik, and there's ISE Logik's listing. Link to the website, contact information. We'd like you to let them know when you do specify their products with transparency information. And right here's their HPD. And right there is the link to the product page. And with the case of ISE Logik, right there is the link to their product master spec. So everything you need to get that information, you can even contact Dean about doing a CEU presentation. It's all right here. And if you want to share this information about ISE Logik with your product team, if you click that link, it pulls up an email in your email client with the link to ISE Logik, and you can email that off to anybody that you're working with. To find products by master format, let's take a look at 0900. And let's say you're in early stage design, you're just interested in how many manufacturers in Division 09 have products with transparency information. So the way the filtering is designed, from the front page, you can click a division, you can click a division and section. I just clicked the division to show you that there are 194 brands and over 1,700 products in Division 09 with transparency information. And you can click the brand link to see all the brands that actually have products. So now you can start filtering down in the way that you like to search or find products. You can just say, hey, you know what? I'm interested in seeing Roppe, Armstrong ceilings, Tarkett, depending on what you're looking for. And then you can click just those brands, and that's what will show up. Now we're down to 4 brands and 927 products. Let's say you're working on a lead project and you really don't want to see anything other than the manufacturers that are going to provide products that can earn you those credits. You can go ahead and filter on as many of those rating system credits as you like. And finally, if you're in the specification phase and you really are looking for products specific to a section, let's go here now and look at flooring. And the way we've designed the filtering, based on learning that most manufacturers and most AECs, unless you're the specification expert, are sometimes uncertain about the actual section products should show up in. The way we designed the filtering was that you're going to see every product and every brand in each section, and you're going to unclick the sections you're not interested in to filter down to see the products in the sections that you are interested in. So now I've just turned off all of the sections in flooring other than resilient flooring. And we can see we still have 28 brands and 451 products. So now maybe I really just want to see Roppe and Tarkett. I can save that selection, and now I can see the products from Roppe. Here's the Pinnacle Plus. I can learn more about that by clicking on that link and get that EPD right there. Let's say I didn't know about Roppe and I wanted to learn more about them. I can click right here, and now I'm at the Roppe listing. And I can see every product that Roppe has across all of those divisions and sections. I can contact them. I can use these social media links and emails. And so, again, what we're trying to do is make it super simple and super easy to find products with transparency information, because we do believe transparency is the new green. That is the number one filter of the entire catalog. It's only the manufacturers and only those products that have transparency information. So you're going to find the highest performing products here in the simplest to use tool to find products and contact to reward those manufacturers. So I want to thank you, Anne and Dean, for your presentations today. They were really terrific. I learned a lot myself. On the way out, for those of you who are heading out, there's a quick set of questions. If you have time to answer, that would be great. We will be sending up a follow-up email with a link to the recording, as well as a link to the deck if you would like to get that. And I just want to thank you again for your time today. Hope you felt like it was well spent. And we hope to see you all again soon. Thank you, Anne and Dean.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. And you can contact us direct with questions, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.